Well, I think my first memories of moving on Lobus was, I was about 11 and a half. I was in the 6th grade, and I was going back to Bret Harte. I was going to graduate. So Mom allowed me to go back with my dad every morning. And there wasn't too many blacks on that street. But about 3 or 4 years later, the Randolphs moved in. And it was really nice because then I had somebody my age to hang with on the block. And Christine and Lana Mae, we became a threesome. You know, we'd go places together and walk to school together, walk home together, and plot on how to go to parties and stuff. Which sometimes we'd be a little vague about where we were going because we knew we weren't supposed to be going. But most of the time, our parents knew where we were, knew about where we were. We might not have gave the right address or something, you know, in the vicinity. And it was just like most things. We hung out at the gym, and we'd go up after school and play ball. Sometimes just sit in the ping pong room and talk. But Chris and Lana Mae, Chris was younger. I think Lana Mae was like a year older than me, and Chris was like a year younger. So we was like the threesome, you know, 1, 2, 3, you know. And we did a lot of things together. We'd go to the games after school and stuff together. And I guess that's when we were just really beginning to get interested in boys and stuff, you know. And we typical teenagers, just typical teenagers. And when I got pregnant and was getting married, and my brother was dating Christine. And I remember one day she came to me and she said, well, I might as well buy a dress and we have a double wedding. And I said, what? She said, yeah, me and Norman getting married. And I said, why? You pregnant? And she said, yeah. But Christine was flat. I mean, really flat until like the 8th month or so. And then she only had a little bit of, you couldn't tell she was pregnant, you know. And I was wobbling. I was big, you know. And I said, I don't believe you pregnant. I really don't believe you pregnant. She said, yeah, I am, you know. But sure enough, little Norman came along 2 months after Veronica, you know. But it was such a vast difference in the way we looked because I got big as a house, you know. Well, actually, in the beginning, I lost a lot of weight. So during the pregnancy, I gained it back, and then my stomach just got big, you know. And she was still flat, wearing street clothes, and I'm in maternity clothes, you know. And sure enough, Norman came along 2 months after Veronica was born, and that's when the family really gelled together because she was 2 doors over, and you know, we kind of could look out for each other and stuff. And I had moved over on Bixby with my in-laws, but we still hung around. My brother went to Alaska. He was in service, and they sent him to Alaska, so she was home, and she come and spend the night with him when we got a place. And first we moved on Latona Street, and that was just a studio, so but when we moved in the projects, we had a 2-bedroom place. So a lot of time while she was pregnant with Norman, Chris would come over and spend the night, and we just hung a lot. And we did everything. We did, you know, the picnics, everything we did together. She used to call up and say, I'm gonna come over. I said, come on. She stayed a weekend, you know. Then when you kids were small, well, we just always went. And then she left and went to Denver with him. And when she came back, Norman came back and he got stationed here. So they were living in the Alameda projects. And we visit. I lived in Hunters Point. She lived in Alameda, and we visit all the time, you know, back and forth. we take the kids to y'all's house, or they bring the kids to my house, you know. And it was just one big happy family. And then as the family grew, my sisters started having kids and got married and had kids. We all, everything was done, you know, just one big family, everything. A lot of them kind of strayed off because she married Larry, and she lived in Hunters Point, but she lived with his parents, and it was kind of like, we didn't see her as much, you know. We talked to her, but she was kind of homebody, you know, whereas we were still wanting to see everything, do everything. Not bad, but, you know, like we'd take the kids to go to Gate Park, and a lot of them rarely came out. But Chris and I hung on in there. You know, we had, every time I got pregnant, she got pregnant. The first 4 kids, we were pregnant every year, you know, and each one was right behind, you know. So then we both quit having babies, and 7 years later I had the twins. But she kept her, she didn't have no more. She was smart, you know. But I thought I was finished too. I thought I would never have no more, but they popped up. The Lord said it wasn't true. So I ended up with 6 and she ended up with 4. And then even after my brother and her separated, I would run into them, and Norman came to live with Mama, you know. So Norman would be with me all the time with my kids, you know, like wherever Norman would be with us, you know, I'd take him all the time. You know. But Chris and I never fell out. We always, I mean, even when we didn't, you know, like we see each other and be like old times again, you know. I see her out at a dance or something, and we always just click, you know. And she would, whatever we invited to, she'd come, you know. She would come all the time, you know, and it's just a bond, I guess. It was a bond that we built at, what was it, about 13, 14 years old, and it's been there all the time, you know.
She just mentioned that at Thanksgiving, just this past Thanksgiving.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm thankful, especially for my family, the love that we have, the legacy that we have, and it's amazing that I'm standing next to this Banks here because in 1959, that's when our families were joined together, and we've been together forever, and we still love each other.
And I was saying, this is Norman's first wife, this is his second wife. Banks and Randolph went back a long ways. I remember Arnold and Philip was close, very close.
Arnold tells some good stories about them too.
And in fact, you seen one, you seen the other one, you know. So it's been a long journey, over 50 years. It's strange, you know. And I think that's how communities are built, about the people around them. People usually marry, right, and the people they knew, you know. On the norm, I think, you know.
Well, I thank God the Banks moved 2 doors down from the Randolphs moved 2 doors up from the Banks, because that's my foundation, you know, and that's what I base everything on, you know. And it's like, I'm equally proud of both sides, but it made me who I am, you know, because I could take the good and, you know.
Well, see, in those days, it's not like they do today. The families were equally matched, you know. They were all God-fearing, hard-working, you know, and they raised the kids to be God-fearing and hard-working. Nowadays, these kids raised to leave them to their own understanding, mostly because they do whatever they want to do, and they don't have the guidance we had as kids, you know.
Right.
Because you look for somebody like your own.
Yes.
You know, and
Christine
was raised in the same atmosphere that we was, a family with kids, siblings, hard-working parents, and you know, loving and nurturing parents and teaching them right, taking them to church and stuff. So it was equally yoked. That's what, you know. And nowadays it's not. You can't find hardly kids with the same values and stuff. They have no values at all. Anything goes, you know.
But if they don't do the things that we used to, they don't eat eat dinner together.
Exactly.
You know, no days, not let alone Sunday. You know,
Exactly.
any days.
Exactly.
You know.
On Sunday, when we were getting up to going to church, the Randolphs were getting up going to church.
Exactly,
We were
yeah.
all going out dressed up
It
and
was-
on our way with our
It was
Bibles.
all the
Different churches, but it's a church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
all we visit each other.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, like a lot of times, Chris would go to be to church, and I'd
Yeah.
go with her.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't care where you went, long as you went to church.
Yeah. Yeah. Some you went somebody's church.
I think our families and we do pretty well. I think, you know.